Hi! Within this lecture, we're gonna install Virtualbox in our Windows machines, and I mean Windows machines because this is specific to Windows users. If you're using Mac OS, please refer to the next lecture. Okay, you don't even have to watch this. Because there is a little bit difference between Windows installation and Mac OS installation, and we're gonna cover that separately. But after we install the Virtualbox, then it will be okay, because we will be using the Virtualbox, we will be using the virtual machines, and it's going to be okay for us to be inside of any operating system actually. But to begin with, we have to install it first. So Virtualbox is a software that lets us create virtual machines, run virtual machines on our host computer. And it's not the only alternative, but also it is the most popular one, and also it is completely free. So we're going to be using Virtualbox in this course, during this course actually. And there is an alternative called VMware, okay? And if you're using VMware, if you have used it before, of course you can continue using it rather than Virtualbox, but again, it's not free. And if you have it for some reason, then it's okay, but if you don't, and if this is the first time that you're hearing all about this, then just follow along with me. So all we gotta do is just go to the virtualbox.org. Okay, of course you can Google it like that. Okay, it will just land you to the virtualbox.org anyway, so let me show you what I mean. Here you go. As you can see, we see the virtualbox.org is the first website that we see over here, and Virtualbox is actually made by Oracle. Okay, so maybe you have heard of Oracle before. It's a company, it sells products, but it doesn't sell Virtualbox, it's just free. So all you gotta do is just come over here and go to the download section. By the way, of course, they are developing Virtualbox every day, every month, every year. So it's in development process constantly. So you can see some other pages, other visuals, a different user interface when you come to this website. However, there will be a download section eventually anyway. So all you gotta do is just find the download section. So right now it's in Virtualbox 7.0 version. So it really doesn't matter if you see 8.0, 9.0, it doesn't matter because it's all the same. And if they change something like major, then we're gonna update the course anyway. Okay, but if you're seeing this, just find the download section and find your hosts. Now we're doing this for Windows, so that's what you have to do. Just find the Windows and just click on it, and it will start downloading this thing. It's actually around 100 megabytes, so it will be quick for you. But this is not the only thing that we should download, okay? Just below the Virtualbox, you will see there is something called Virtualbox extension pack. Now we gotta download this as well. So after we install the Virtualbox, we're gonna install this extension pack, and it's all one file for every operating system. So it really doesn't matter if you're on Windows or Mac OS or Linux, just download this. Okay, click on this, and this is even like smaller. This is, I believe, 25 megabyte or something like that. So it's going to be pretty quick for you. So let me show you my downloads folder. I have already downloaded the Virtualbox before, so I'm just gonna delete one. Okay, and I believe I have already downloaded the extension pack before as well. So it really doesn't matter as long as you have the Virtualbox exe, the installer exe right now. But let me clear this up a little bit. So you gotta see the extension pack and the Virtualbox installer exe. Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just close this because we are done with it. And we're gonna start the Virtualbox and then install it, and then install the extension pack. Extension pack is just some kind of helper tools or helper softwares that will help us when we use the Virtualbox, when we try to, for example, connect a USB device or USB Wi-Fi card to our virtual machines. That's when it will come in handy. But first of all, we need to make sure that VirtualBox is installed. So I'm gonna right click this and say run as administrator. You don't have to do that necessarily, but sometimes the antivirus solutions or other softwares can block installation of VirtualBox. So you can just double click on it or right click and say run as administrator. Okay, if it asks a permission, then just give it and it will launch the installer for you. But here you go, now we have a problem. So if you see this message, then don't worry about it. I'm gonna show you how to deal with it. But if you don't see it, if the installation wizard pops up for you, then it's great. Now you gotta have to wait a minute or so in order for us to solve this problem. As you can see, it says that we need something called Microsoft Visual C++ 2019 or 2022. It really doesn't matter the version. It needs the C++ runtime file. Okay. The good thing is this is also like a free software. The bad thing is we have an extra step to do over here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna find this file from Microsoft official website and just download it and install it on our computer. So I'm gonna go to google.com. Okay, and I'm gonna search for this exact file. So if you see Microsoft Visual C++ 2019, then just search for it. If you see 2022, just search for it. It really doesn't matter. It only needs a C++ runtime file. So for some reason, yeah, here you go. I thought that I couldn't connect to internet. So I'm just gonna say Microsoft 2019 C++ redistributable. Okay, here you go. That's all I need to search for. I'm searching for this. I'm not giving you the exact link because it changes in the Microsoft website as well. So as you can see, the first result is something called latest supported Visual C++ redistributable downloads. And this is exactly what we need right now. So this is the official website of Microsoft. As you can see, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so that we can see it in a better way. As you can see, it says that this will install the C and C++ runtime libraries, and apparently VirtualBox needs them in order to install itself or just make it run. So if you scroll down a little bit, you will see three versions over here, starting with the ARM64 and x64 and x86. So ARM64 is something like Mac OS M1 or M2 chips. So most probably you're not using this, but if you know that if your chipset or if your processor is ARM64, then just go for it. But most probably you're gonna be needing the x64. Okay, so x64 means you have a 64-bit chip, and x86 means you got a 32-bit chip. So if you don't know your processor, if you don't know whether you are using 64 or 86 or 32, then all you gotta do, just come to this PC or my computer on your desktop, right click on it and go to the properties. Okay, and it will just show you your processor. In this case, as you can see, it's 64-bit. Great. Now I know this is 64-bit, then I'm just gonna go for x64 at the bottom, and I'm just gonna click on it and it will just download it. And this is a very small file as well, so it will be quick for us. And that's all you gotta do. Okay, just find the related file for you. And of course, we're just gonna cancel this, okay? Because first of all, we need to install that Visual Studio or C++ Visual Studio. So I'm gonna delete one of those, and I'm gonna just run this as administrator one more time and then make it run. Okay, so this will be very quick for us. I will agree to terms and I will say just install. And there you go, that's it. As you can see, it says setup successful. Then what I need to do right now, I'm gonna go to the VirtualBox one more time and run this as an administrator and make it run. Here you go. Now we see the setup wizard. I'm just gonna click next, next, next. Okay, I'm not gonna change the installation location or something like that. I'm just gonna say yes, yes. I will give the permissions if it's asked for me. And here you go. Now it's installing. Now that is great. That is all we need to do in order to install the VirtualBox. And after we install the VirtualBox, most probably it will just create a shortcut on your desktop. If it's not, then of course you can just search for it. But after you finish it, after you finish the installation, make sure you run it, okay? Make sure you run the VirtualBox. Of course, after you are done with it, you can delete the setup file in the downloads folder if you don't want to install it again. And after that, we're just going to be installing the extension pack. But first of all, we need to make sure that VirtualBox is running. Here you go. Now this is running, great. Now VirtualBox looks like this. So we're gonna have our virtual machines on the left hand side once we install them, okay? We're gonna see like Linux or Kali Linux or Windows or other operating systems on the left hand side. But right now we don't have any, of course, because first of all we need to install the extension pack. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna double click on that and it will just pop open in the VirtualBox itself. If you click on install, then it will just install it, that's it. Of course you have to agree the terms. Just read them and say I agree, and it will be installed in your VirtualBox, and that's it for the installation. Now if you double clicked on the extension pack and if it didn't pop up on the VirtualBox, this is a possibility, then what you're gonna do, then you're gonna have to install it manually. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So there is a file menu over here. Go to File and Preferences. And if you go over here to the preferences, maybe you're gonna see extensions over here. So I'm saying maybe because as you can see, it doesn't appear in my case, right? So I don't see any extensions tab on here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the other thing. Rather than file, I'm just gonna find these three buttons over here. Okay, this is another icon as you can see, and this is also some kind of settings as well. And here you go, extensions appear in here. And once I click on that, here you go, we see the extension pack that we have just installed. Now if I click on install and if I just select this, double click on it, and it will just install it again. So if it didn't pop up when you double clicked on it, then you can just install it using this technique as well. Great. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back. So if you click on it, if you go to welcome, it will just land you to the first page. And we need to do one more thing, actually maybe two more things. So first of all, we need to find the network. So network is sitting over here, but if you go to File and Preferences, maybe you can find it in there as well. So all we gotta do, we gotta go to the network and find the network. Okay, so remember, you need to check the file preferences if you don't see the network over here. But if you see it, then it's great. Now in this case, we're gonna go to the network tab. Networks. So network is great because we can create like a virtual network inside of our virtual machine, a VirtualBox, so that we can use the internet connection of our host computer. We can create a virtual network and we can connect our virtual machines together to simulate some attacks. We can hack one box, we can hack one machine from another. We're gonna be using this a lot. So all we gotta do is just click on this create. Okay, here you go, it's created, that's it. Now if you experience any kind of problem with the internet connection, then you can just come to here, okay, create another network during the course, anytime. I mean, just remove this, for example. Okay, remove it and create another one, and make sure you just move the virtual machines to the new network. Of course, you don't know how to assign this network to the virtual machines because right now we don't have any. But you're gonna see, don't worry about it. Last but not least, I'm gonna go to preferences and I'm gonna show you that it has a language section. So if you want, you can just use this in any language or in your native language. But I'm gonna use it in English during the course. Even if you are not a native English speaker, I believe using this in English is a good idea because it will give you a great opportunity to find some consistent knowledge around the internet, since most of the documentation is in English as well. Great. Now, if you came over here to this point, then it's great. It's time to stop for us right now. We're gonna see you in the next lecture.